Hello everyone, Hunter Kowski here. This is the Eternyl Speed Drawer Paint. Now, the music that we have in here is copyrighted by Dalen Camarena, our local musician for the video game. Anyway, point being, this is the final product. This is what it ended up turning into. This is the statue of the Eternyl. This is where you're going to be saving your game, essentially. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into the speed paint. Alright, let's go. Now, first thing to keep in mind is the progress I had to do here is I ended up going ahead and I already started it up before I ended up recording it. I was like, wait, this looks fun. Maybe I'm going to record it. I'm terrible at commentating, so keep in mind that, guys, while watching this. So, I felt like the face was too wide from the reference that I had. Funny enough, an artist myself, having to use a reference to my own old work. I was like, okay, it's been so long since I've drawn this character, I have to use a reference. And now I actually have to, because, well, this is going to be a new game later. I ended up moving the hair downward because it just didn't seem like it was going to fit in that particular position where I was standing. I narrowed her chin down to give her a more youthful look. It just seemed to be more appropriate from that way. I screwed up the line up there, that's why I was almost typing up the words FA in capital letters. And I do about the same thing here as I'm trying to draw a thumb. FA! Anyway, and I finally got it. It was like, that river moment where you sing near a river and you say, booyah. Anyway, so I start drawing up the fingers as well. I start going ahead and getting a base model of her palm, getting an idea where I want to go with that, kind of rip that up, tear up little pixels here and there, start getting the fingers in as well, and I get a little frustrated, but of course, sometimes your frustrations turn into happy accidents, and that's what I discovered. One thing you will notice a lot in this piece is that I make a lot of accidents that I've used to my advantage, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and run with it anyway. It just felt appropriate to work with. So I'm working on her glove here and just kind of her arm bandages. And I get distracted. I'm going to go ahead and work on her face a little more. I'm going to go ahead and rework the line on there. And as you can see, I'm redrawing that twice. And that's actually me rewinding her going forward. It was almost the perfect hairline. And Paint decided to go ahead and destroy it. So that's why I went, why? Anyway, you'll see the little uptick where I go ahead and start complaining on the application itself. There's a little happy accident. I like the way that turned out. I mean, the eye wasn't supposed to be there, but I decided to go ahead and run with it anyway. You'll see that I temporarily painted her eye red. A little bit of a story spoiler later on. I'm not going to go ahead and get into, but a little hint of what's going to come up throughout the story. Anyway, I draw a sigil of the shadrax that she's holding on to, just like attached onto her pointer finger. And that sigil pretty much says, oh, yeah, I am a goddess, and whatever. But it also represents a particular race in the series. Now, where it says, don't kill me, something might edit it out. That'll be in the director's cut commentary when I get back to this later, aka never. So I thin out the hair, give it a little bit more detail here. Just kind of like thicken it out on the right side. Yeah, I thicken it out on the right side, thin it out on the left side. Anyway, next up, just some general touch-ups, clean-ups, everything else in between, and I give myself a say, okay, I'm doing a good job. So I give myself a little encouragement. So I'm starting to clean up the hair, kind of like give it a little bit more thinning on the right side, thickening out the left side, or excuse me, vice versa. Yay, dyslexia. Anyway, I fix up her nose, give her a little bit more detail on the side of her nose, and now I'm starting to add a little bit more color into it. I want to go ahead, well, as much color as monochromatics will allow me in a statue form. So at this point I get frustrated because it's like, FA in capital letters. Trying to go ahead and fill in the paint in one spot, and it just goes horribly wrong. So I fix it up, make sure all the ink's in the right spot, make sure everything's all in the right spot, change up the color so it's a little bit of a darker gray and it matches up a little better too. Kind of contrast it out, trying to figure out what works where, what does well where. Now I'm starting to work on her lips, just kind of trying to make them pop a little. I get frustrated in the process, but I just keep it going. Don't really stop. Keep it going, and then eventually I find myself working on her thumbs again, just touching it up, thinning out the left side and right side, whatever. Anyway, point being, just doing basic touch-up here. And now I'm working on her eye, and this is actually an accident. I wasn't supposed to go ahead and draw like that, but I was like, I like this. I want to go ahead and add a teardrop to it, because, you know what, I have an obsession with drawing teardrops. Maybe it's an emo kid inside me that never got fulfilled. Anyway, all humor aside, I really like drawing teardrops, so I was going to go ahead and just run with it. From here, I continue to go ahead and add a little more shading, a little bit more contrast here and there. I start to go ahead and add a little sheen to her hair, because why not? I mean, even though it's a statue, why not? Why deny yourself the little details here? Because details really make things so much better. And then I come back to this later, and you'll notice that I decided to go ahead and add a little bit more of the jagged edges within the hair. But I go ahead and come back to that later, because I want to work more on the face. At least, I'm thinking that's where I'm at right now. So, I work on the eye, and there's a subtle reference back to the eye again. But it's not something I really wanted to run with. I just wanted to give the audience a little hint of what's coming again. Just hinting a little further. And now I'm working on the actual overall shading of the face. I want to go ahead and bring it pop out a little bit more, just basic pixel stuff, nothing too fancy. And I'm trying to go ahead and just, yep, this is where I start jagging out the hair a little bit more, giving it a little bit more rough edges, so it looks a lot nicer in terms of reflection quality. At least that's my opinion. I feel like sharper edges work better in hair whenever you're adding reflection, especially in simplified style hairstyles or whatever you're drawing. And this is a very simplified hairstyle. I mean, that's my most preferred way to draw it. Anyway, now, I don't know where I went with this or what I was doing here. Oh yeah, that's right, I was adding a little bit more of a deeper, jagged edges with the hair. And, yeah, I probably might go quiet a couple times here because I don't feel like to talk. But this is just the basic commentary at this point. So, if you guys wanted to keep on watching, but for the most part I'm speeding up the footage here. Adding minor details to the hair on the backside. Okay, this is where I start adding further details in the arm wraps on top of the gloves. Because, you know what, ribbons look cool. I mean, it's not so much cool, but it's also very elegant to her art style and character. That the Eternyl is this elegant, fragile, but extremely powerful character. And she is the character of creation, and oh, this is actually another accident. Interrupt myself. That wasn't supposed to happen with the area where the ribbons were supposed to go ahead and shade off like that, and where they were supposed to come off like that, and I drew that line across. I was like, you know what, this looks actually pretty nice this way. I'm going to keep it. So I ran with that too. I mean, I ran with a lot of happy accidents, in the words of Bob Ross. So, yeah, I started working on the hand wraps, and as I was saying, the Eternyl is a very elegant, but very powerful character. She might look fragile on the outside, but she can render defenses useless. She can see past people's truth and destroy them with their truth. Truths that they don't want to acknowledge, truth that they don't want to go ahead and see. And that's one of her greatest powers. Her other power is that she can go ahead and erase memories completely. I can't go ahead and give full details about that yet. So I'm adding more details in the arm wraps and just kind of going a little further, a little bit further. I'm going to start working in the arm, just light detail, nothing too fancy. Getting around there, wrapping it up. And adding a little more detail to the bust, just nothing too fancy. Adding a little detail on the arms. Looking back at this now, I might go back into this one more time and edit up the arm where the shoulder pad is at for the gown. And I might work with that. And I'm working on the eyebrow. Things that weren't turning out pretty well there, and I ended up having to go ahead and use a reference. So I jumped back in, worked on the eyebrow, and I threw it in there real quick. That's why you'll see the reference disappear for a few seconds. Eventually I decided I want to go ahead and add the wolf's ear because she technically has a tail, but it's a ribbon wolf tail of sorts. It's more of a ribbon, if anything, but I was like, I don't think the wolf ear was going to fit with this piece right now. I might come back to it later, because she's also a shapeshifter. She can shapeshift into any animal she wishes, and that's one of her greatest powers, as on top of everything else. Anyway, point being, see everything else here, just, we're getting near the end of it all, and I'm adding just the final details, a little bit of the dark edges, just to go ahead and make it pop out a little bit more. I'm taking out some details, and we've arrived to the end of the product. And this is the final product. Ta-da! Something fancy. Alright, thanks for watching, and have a lovely day. Thank you.